Alright, no more fight camp. In this video, I'm going to talk about a long, drawn out issue concerning, namely, boxing and karate. You can also apply this in some way to boxing versus maybe Wing Chun. Alright? Now, I'm going to say some things here, and you won't be surprised, but I'm going to say some things here that some people will not like. It will elicit a few thumbs down, but there are always those people lurking, all right, who don't have the courage to say what they disagree on, but they, give it a thumbs down. Even though I'm one of very few people who allows comments, right, without really a great deal of vetting, okay? Without a great deal of monitoring, I allow comments. But again, you have those people, very soft people, who rather than take a chance on proving they're wrong, will give a thumbs down. So I understand it's going to happen. It's going to happen quite a bit in this particular video because, again, what I'm going to say, some people aren't going to particularly like it. One of my major issues for 6 years, since I've been on YouTube, has been the influx of people who do not have the experience to make the comments they make. Excuse me. Who do not have the experience to say what they say. Now, there are some people who might think, for example, I'm talking about the kids. I'm actually not talking about kids. I'm not talking about 15-year-olds. I'm not talking about 16-year-olds. I'm not even talking about 17-year-olds. I mean, you have them too. But I'm talking about those people, 35, 40, 50-year-olds, right? Who may sell a lot of DVDs. Who may sell a great deal of downloads. Who may do seminars all over the world, right? No matter what it is, I'm talking about people who are very well respected, who really do not really know what they're talking about when they say certain things, but they're believed because they have knowledge about other things. Okay? One of my pet peeves are those people who don't know the effectiveness of karate or lie about the effectiveness of karate. And my main peeve with this is when they look and they generally do not understand how karate actually is supposed to work. So I was inspired to do this video by a couple people who said that, well, boxing is the end-all be-all. And that there is no way that karate would ever survive against boxing. And again, to a lesser extent, Wing Chun, but I'm basically talking about karate here. So I'm going to jump in right now. Jump in, dive right in. I set myself apart for several reasons. No matter how arrogant it may sound, I set myself apart for several reasons, and that's because I've boxed, still box, still teach boxing, I'm qualified to teach amateurs and pros, and I have trained in karate, still trained in karate, teach karate, can train amateurs and pros, and can train karate for the street, okay? And I still indulge in both of them at the highest level. At the highest level. Okay? So, I am uniquely qualified to tell you what is the strength of one against the strength of the other. What is the strength of the other against the strength of one. Okay? I did not box for a couple years and then left it because it wasn't for me. I started boxing when I was 9. I still box. This is over 40 years of boxing. I didn't train in karate and then left it because it wasn't for me. Okay? I started training karate at 13. I still train today. That is over 40 years of karate. Okay? So let's understand that. Unlike many other people, no matter what else they teach, whether it's combatives, whether it's karate, whether it's boxing, I did them all, have been doing them all for over 40 years and still believe in them both. That said, when I was fighting someone who was good in karate, in say a street confrontation, and I haven't had a great deal of street confrontations, I added up the faces the faces that I remember, the situations I remember, and it comes down to about 28 street fights from 9 to about maybe 30 years old. All right, haven't had any for a long time. All right, but about 28 fights, street fights. I will also include near karate fights in a dojo. In karate, you can get away with certain things. You can use a boxing punch, right? And your teacher may not stop you. In boxing, you can't get away with much of anything because everything other than punching is essentially a foul, all right? So I will include my street fights, my street confrontations, and I will include hard karate sparring matches in the dojo. When I say this thing, when I had someone and they were very good in karate and I felt we were battling evenly and I wanted to make it a little easier for me, what did I use to nullify karate? I used boxing. Boxing. So it might be a certain boxing move, might be a certain boxing tactic with the feet, footwork. But I use boxing to nullify karate. Now many of you will say, yeah, that's what I've been telling you. And I would say, not so fast. What did I use to nullify boxing? In the street, what did I do to nullify boxing if someone was a very good boxer and I felt we were battling evenly and I just wanted to have a jump on, get a jump on individual? What did I do to nullify boxing? Karate. Karate. Now understand the karate I'm talking about is the karate that many of your mothers said they didn't want you to learn because you would get hurt. Understand the karate I'm talking about was taught in areas where many of your mothers and fathers just drive through and say, don't get out the car or lock your door. Okay? I'm talking about in the inner city, in the 70s, where poor people actually couldn't afford safety gear. They could barely afford a karate gi, right? And their parents brought them to learn to fight, not to compete in tournaments. You understand? So I'm talking about real, hardcore, bare-knuckle karate. Karate as it was meant to be taught and fought in Okinawa, the origin of karate, and where it was taught in the 70s in the United States and in the 70s in some of the tougher areas of Europe. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Now, how did I nullify boxing if I was in a street fight? It's simple. If you're moving your hands around and I go to sweep you, your hands will come down. You can tell me in a blog, you can tell me through email, you can tell me and you can run your mouth and you can tell your friends, and I don't know what I'm talking about. If I went to sweep you when you had your hands up, in order for you to catch your balance, your hands are going to come down, and that allowed me to get my right hand in. That allowed me to get my hook in. That allowed me to get my jab in, or reverse punch, or gazamazuki, which is a jab punch, whatever the case might be. I would use a ashibarai, a karate sweep, against a boxer who was good and the hands came down. Another technique. If I was boxing someone like this and they were boxing, I will tell you, I don't care who you are, if someone who knows how to do it fakes at you and throws a jump side kick, they're in this position, hopefully you can see me, and they jump forward and throw a jump side kick, I will tell you that if you were fighting me back in the day and you were anywhere near my size and I threw a jump side kick at you, I will kick you into another zip code. I will kick you into another zip code. Trust me. Through a window, out in front of an oncoming car, into a rose bush. I don't care what style you're using. Okay? If I threw a jump side kick, I'm knocking you out, knocking you down, knocking you far away. I don't care what style you're using. Peekaboo, Philly shell, or whatever. Okay? So what did I use to nullify boxing? Karate. Hardcore, bare-knuckle karate. So now, let me tell you what the problem is. When people generally fight people who are boxing, and why karate sometimes fails against boxers, there's several reasons. Several reasons. One, karate is not taught for self-defense today. Karate is essentially taught for sport. The essence of karate is also block and counter. Block and counter. You're not spending a whole lot of time trying to avoid a particular shot. You are waiting for one particular shot if you have to wait, if you can't see an opening. And as soon as that opening comes, as soon as that attack, someone attacks, then you block it and you counter it. You are not overly concerned for getting hit. Ichigeki Hizatsu is the essence of karate, which means one punch, one kill to some people. Another meaning is suicide attack. And I prefer that particular meaning. Why? Because Echigeki Izatsu, when you understand that, you attack without any concern for a counterattack. You attack with total conviction. This is why some people refer to it as a suicide attack. I am giving myself up in order to do maximum damage to you, and I don't care what else you throw. Okay? I'm daring you to hurt me more than my attack is going to hurt you. Okay? This is why many times when a person who is good in karate attacks, right, it looks like they're exaggerating or they're putting everything into that attack. They mean to be putting everything into that attack if they understand Ichigeki Izatsu. So one of the main problems is this. People who generally think they are doing karate are actually trying to match a boxer. The thing that one should never do if they're training in karate, training in Wing Chun, or training in any other martial art is try to match the volume of punches. Understand this, people. Try to match the volume of punches of a boxer. That is not your position. That is not your place. The position of martial arts is to be martial. Is to be martial. Is to hurt and or kill. That is the position of martial arts. Therefore, you are not trying to match volume. You are trying to overcome with quality of attack. The quality of an attack. Most karate fighters, when they spar a boxer, they fail because they are trying to match the volume of punches of a boxer. As long as you were training in the hardest martial art, technically, if taught right, the hardest martial art, the martial art who actually can develop in their fighters the greatest amount of power. You can see that. Breaking bats with the shin. Breaking 3 and 4 slabs of solid ice. Breaking bricks with a chop. Breaking bricks with a punch. There is no martial art that demonstrates in their high echelon the amount of power generated as karate fighters, as master karate practitioners, old school karate practitioners. Their feats of strength are unmatched. The only way to get that strength into your punch is to not try to match punch for punch, but to overcome with quality. Quality in speed, quality in power. Okay? That is the way to do it. When you see a karate fighter fighting a boxer and being overwhelmed, it is because they are attempting to match the volume of punches. You do not ever try to match the volume of punches of a boxer if you are a karate fighter, because your onus is to do damage. Your onus is not to throw a great deal of punches. There are very few setup techniques in karate. Even when a technique is considered a setup technique, that technique is also meant to do maximum damage. So the major issue when someone is training in karate, when they are sparring a boxer, the major issue is trying to match the volume of punches of the boxer and not maintaining your ability to generate power in your blows. The same issue happens with Wing Chun. When you look at Wing Chun, how does a style, how does a martial art that has chops, that have throws, that have kicks, that have elbows, how does a martial art that have all those things, all those tools that are considered actually fouls in boxing, why do they continually lose to boxers? Several reasons. One, they agree to only punch, which is ridiculous. Then it's not Wing Chun, then it's poor boxing. 2, they try to match punch for punch with a boxer. That is not the place. The place is to let the boxer do what he does. You counter, you block. When you get in close, where a boxer actually is not very familiar if they are doing Queen's Marquis of Queensberry rules boxing, like you see on HBO and Showtime, etc. Once you get inside, the object is then to poke the eyes, to elbow, to knee to the groin, to kick to the groin. When you see Wing Chun, you see Wing Chun trying to box, and that generally is where they fail. The same thing happens with karate. The onus in the martial arts is not on volume, it is on quality. Building power and having maximum power and speed behind every single blow that you throw. Next, I'm going to give you some information that you will not get anywhere else. There is a fighter. There is a boxer. A particular boxer who's one of the greatest boxers of all time. And this particular boxer actually uses the rules of karate. I don't know if he consciously does it, but the same thing I am telling you, although he is a boxer, is actually what karate fighters do, and actually what this particular boxer did as a boxer. All right? This particular boxer not only uses the approach that I tell you karate fighters should use, but actually fights more from a karate stance than he does from a boxing stance. All right? Or fought more from a karate stance than he did from a boxing stance. And I'm not saying he deliberately did that, but I'm saying he did that whether he was conscious of it or not. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's approach to boxing was the exact same approach that karate fighters should be taking. He did not try to match punch for punch. He did not try to match the volume of his opponents. What he tried to overcome them with was quality and preciseness, precision of punch. Okay? If you look at him and his way of measuring his punches and look at the prime Lyoto Machida, you will see two styles. You will see two different arts, but the same exact approach. Look at Floyd Mayweather in his prime in the ring, and look at Lyoto the Dragon Machida in his prime in the cage, and you will see almost the same exact approach. Floyd Mayweather's approach to boxing was more like the approach of karate to boxing than boxing to boxing. Even if we look at the stance of Floyd Mayweather, in karate we call it kamae. Kamae means posture. Now, in karate, you have essentially two kamaes. You have the forward kamae, right, which is obviously forward posture. My feet, you can't see my feet, but my feet are moving pretty much forward. And then you have the side kamae. The side kamae is to the side. Okay, look at Floyd Mayweather's stance. Floyd Mayweather's stance is extremely wide. It's extremely wide, right? It's almost like a karate side horse stance. Now I'm going to show you some pictures, and hopefully the camera will pick it up, okay? This is a book called Perfect Karate, okay? Coming up to the camera, Perfect Karate. Now the book is actually written by Shigeru Oyama, the late great master Shigeru Oyama, the best student that Master Oyama ever taught. Here is a side posture. Here is kamae. Here is kamae. Side posture. That's karate. It's not boxing. I'm going to show you another position. Here is kamae. Side kamae. Again. Here we go. Side position. Alright? So now when we look at these particular positions, let me see if I can find one more. Okay? We have side kamae. Here, he's fighting someone, he's getting ready to throw a kick. Look at this side kamae. This is from karate. This is not boxing. This is from karate. Hopefully you can see the picture. Here we go. All right. Side kamae. That is karate. Front kamae, side kamae is right here. This is what it is. Not the Philly shell. This is side kamae. All right. That is almost exactly the stance that Floyd Mayweather gets in. So when you look at Floyd Mayweather, look at him fight, look at his approach, and that is the exact same approach that karate fighters back in the day used to take. And this is why when I was coming up in the 1970s in the ghetto of the United States, if you heard that a karate fighter, not even a black belt, I mean a green belt, if a green belt from one of the better known dojos, bare knuckle dojos, was getting ready to fight a golden glove boxer, if you knew they were going to fight after school, if you knew they were going to fight outside of a club, if you knew they were going to fight, there was no way you knew who was going to win. Back in the day, you never knew who was going to win. You didn't know. In New Brunswick, New Jersey, there was a karate school called the Fuji Kai Dojo. It was ran by a man named Richard Gurrell, the late Richard Gurrell. Now, in this Fuji Kai dojo, they had some of the best street fighters in the entire city. Some of the best street fighters in the entire city. And these guys, many of them, most of them couldn't box. Most of them never could put their hands up like this. They were karate, straight karate, right? But because it was bare knuckle and it was in the ghetto and they came there to learn true karate the way it was meant to be done, if you thought they were going to fight a boxer, you did not know whether that boxer would beat that particular person from that particular dojo. You didn't know. And there are many people, I won't mention their names, but there are many people who thought they were going to beat a fighter from that dojo in a street fight. And when they had, after the fight, they ended up taking karate. The boxer ended up taking karate. Why? Why did he join that dojo? Because they were beaten by the people who went to that dojo. In Newark, New Jersey, they had many dojos in the 70s. Many dojos in the 70s. But they had one particular dojo. One that Nasiba Hill is from. Another one, the founder of it, I trained with. Personally, one of the only people who trained with him one-on-one for over a year, 6 days a week. Okay? I mean, this particular dojo was called the KA system. Right? The KA system. Some of the best street fighters in the city of Newark, New Jersey, one of the toughest cities at that time in the 70s, came out of that dojo. And they weren't, not even a black belt. You didn't have to have a black belt. If you were a green belt from that school, you probably would be one of the most feared street fighters in the entire city. Just a green belt from that school. So when I was coming up, there was no big difference between boxers and karate. You didn't know who was going to win. And why? Because karate was fighting boxers from a karate standpoint. They were fighting them bare knuckle. They were fighting them fully understanding what karate was. Today, that's lost. So if you really want to see how effective karate really is, or the karate approach, look at Floyd Mayweather, and you will see Floyd Mayweather fighting boxers throughout his entire career in the way that I recommend karate faces boxers. That is, not trying to match the volume, but overwhelming with clean shots, with clean punches, with precision, with power. You can also look at the stance. The stance that Floyd Mayweather uses is not a typical boxing stance. It is not a typical boxing stance. In karate, you have the front kamae and you have the side kamae. If you look from the pictures, if you look at the photos I showed you, the way that Floyd Mayweather uses his hands, the way that Floyd Mayweather actually stands, the way his arms are, is more the approach of karate than it is of a typical boxing position like this. Okay? So, when people are talking about karate, when people are talking about boxing, when people are talking about Wing Chun, it is extremely important that people know what they are talking about. If you're not doing it, then you should shut up. If you're not doing it, you should shut up or go to another channel. Because when you come to my channel, I expect for you to know what you're talking about. And if you don't know what you're talking about, then shut up, listen, and learn. The problem with karate fighters losing to boxers is trying to match the volume of punches. That is not the approach. The way to beat boxing is to know that your job is to be martial. Your job and your aim, the aim of the founder of your particular martial art, and particularly if it's karate, was to overwhelm with precision and power, to use those techniques that are in karate that are otherwise a foul in boxing. Does that mean that boxing cannot be karate at times? It can, and it has. But as someone who has done both at a high level, I will tell you, a good karate fighter has just as much a chance of beating a boxer as a boxer has of beating a karate fighter, if the karate fighter actually was taught the proper way. Uma Fight Camp saved Carmen after 6 years. See you next video.